Welcome to the Rich in Purpose Transform Childhood Trauma Summit. Today I'm here with Karen Weaver. She's an author, publisher, and Napoleon Hill coach. She has published over 40 books and leads her Hear Us Roar, a movement that supports people in turning their stories into healing identity and impact. As the eldest of six and a mother of six, she has lived through trauma and transformation and now helps others rewrite their story too. Karen, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jamie, and hello to everyone who's watching.
Karen, when I asked you what you wanted to talk about today, you said, I'm all about the story. So tell us a little bit about the story and what you mean when you say it's all about the story.
Yeah. So it's for me, it's all about the power of story because the narratives we have in our own minds can determine how we experience life, and we're both with Napoleon Hill Institute and Think and Grow Rich is very much a big part of of our lives, and our thoughts are just so powerful, and whenever you get to understand that and grow that understanding and awareness, and really look at the stories that you are telling yourself about your past, about your present, maybe even about your future. And if you shift the narrative on that, you can change your whole life. And I did it myself many years ago whenever I wrote my first novel, and that was back in 2010. I wrote it in 30 days during NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month that happens in November every year. And the audacity of me to decide to do it because I had just had my fourth child at that time, but I had this unbelievable calling to write about an epiphany that I had around why I endured a double miscarriage. And that double miscarriage broke my heart. And I never got the answer my heart longed for until this one time that when I had this aha moment when somebody introduced the reason why to me. And I was like, I have to share this message with the world. It was just so profound. And my own limiting beliefs, because I was not good at English at school and I had limiting beliefs, but they all just got shattered. I was like, the will and the desire and the burning desire to share this message that I had been gifted that set my heart free as to the why was just so powerful that no matter what, nothing was going to stand in my way. And I started, all of the signs kind of led to me writing a novel. And, I had all the excuses in the world not to do it, but I had this absolute huge calling to do it. And that one choice changed my life. And it showed me how sharing your story, even in whether it's in a fictional book, because mine was a fictional novel, or in nonfiction, which I write now, um, whenever it connects with another person, it has the power to heal, to awaken something within them, to just connect people. It's just so powerful. So story is so powerful, and with others, but definitely the stories we tell ourselves.
There's no doubt about it. The stories that we tell ourselves really end up, that's where we're going to end up, right? Because
Yes,
that's the story that we're telling ourselves.
yes.
Aaron, many of us, we grow up as children in childhood trauma and we develop these stories. And sometimes they're like perfectionism, how to be a stronger person. How does that fit into how do we overcome those stories once we get into adult life?
Yeah. It's funny because I always, whenever people talk about, trauma in childhood, I was like, I was so blessed to grow up in unconditional love. And that was a beautiful foundation for me to go out into life. And I always thought everybody grew up in unconditional love. And I soon realized that no, that is not the case. I was very blessed. I endured trauma later on in my life, but I understand through doing the work and through my own spiritual awakening that, sometimes we can't control what happens to us, but we control how we can heal from it, how we can grow through it. And the person that we become, we have control of that. And a lot of fear and a lot of the trauma is in the unknown. It's in where we don't understand things. So whenever we get to understand that we are in control of how we react to things, how we um, allow that to play out in our lives. And a lot of things that we endure, I went through post-traumatic stress, and I was lucky and fortunate enough that I had worked in mental health for many years before that incident. And so I understood what was happening, but I didn't like it. But I was able to go through the motions, and I didn't fear it. So I would feel very blessed. So I think whenever we are informed, whenever we, can change the narrative around, you can't change what happened, but we can change how we react to it. We can change how we allow it to affect our lives moving forward. And so healing that trauma is such an important part, especially that, I've worked with a lot of people who have childhood trauma, and just healing that story around that, and so that they can then come to terms and live with that and grow through it, because there's so much growth that can happen through the adversities that we endure in life, Jamie. And whenever we embrace that, we become higher versions of ourselves, and gives us back some level of control to something that we feel out of control with. So it's interesting but complex, and our world needs to heal collectively as much as but it starts with us individually.
Yeah, I agree with you, Karen. And so many times when we grow up, in a childhood trauma, or trauma later on in life,
Yeah.
we kind of can become the victim, right? In our minds, we become a victim. And I think as long as you stay a victim, you're not going to get to the place where you want to get into life. So Karen, how do you help people, and again through storytelling and your message, how do you move from being a victim to being a person that's responsible for your future?
Yeah. Well, it's having the courage to go there, really, because when trauma happens in our lives, Jimmy, it's not the time to heal from trauma. Quite often we go into survival mode, and so we suppress things and put them away in a box inside. But it's not good to leave it there forever. And so and through my own experiences and through to seeing others, it's going to come and peek its head out at times whenever we're able to, deal with it in life. And we're going, no, we don't want to go there. Things are going well in life. I don't want to go there. But what you don't understand is, if you allow yourself to go there, whenever it starts to rise to the surface, it's an opportunity not to relive it. It's an opportunity to release it, because it's ready to leave you. So and in revisiting it, and through journaling, through just writing it out, is such a powerful. I always recommend that everyone should write out their story in life. It actually biologically heals your body. Your atoms will heal whenever you are writing your story and releasing it. And it's such a safe place to release. You can write it out. Some people do a ritual where they burn it and or rip it up or whatever. It doesn't even have to see the light of day. But I have worked now, I've published over 500 books for other people. I've written over 40 of my own. And I know and have seen firsthand the power of writing your story. And whenever you're writing, I always say that if someone is healing, then you journal. You don't share that with the world, you keep that to yourself. And then, but whenever you have done the work and you have a perspective that you can gift to another person, it's your job to share that. We go through experiences, and to hold a hand out to help someone else on their journey, and writing your story and sharing your story and having the courage to share your adversities from a perspective of having come through them and hindsight. It's such a powerful thing, because then people don't feel alone. And if your story connects with the heart and mind of another person, it shifts something within them. It awakens them that they can never go back to sleep to again, and it invites them to explore and do their own healing journey, which is so powerful. And it's what we're here to do. We're not here to be victims of life. We're here to learn from each experience. And so many people, there's a lot of people who just get really a raw deal, and they have so many hard experiences to endure in life. I feel very blessed, I've haven't, I've had adversities, like losing the twins, and some things have happened in my own personal life, but I always see, the gift and the growth in it. But I also don't hold back. I share those experiences with others, because whenever that is an answer for someone else's heart, and that they need at that time, just to hear at that one moment, and that shifts the whole narrative around their story about, and their life, and you're just such a shining light in other people's lives that way. So sorry, I hope I didn't go off topic with that. I'm very passionate about it,
Okay. I
Jamie.
mean, it's all right. I mean, it's good that you're a storyteller. So you started telling the story right at that
Yes.
particular moment.
I'm also Irish, so that's where we go, Jamie. It's natural.
Karen, so many times, especially, we've experienced childhood trauma, or again, it's trauma in our lives. We get stuck in brands that keep us stuck. We get stuck in organizations that keep us stuck. And we would never even think to write. Like you had that vision to write, and now you've written 40 books. And I really believe in journaling, and I had a really good experience and transformation when I was journaling. How do you get people, I guess, through a story to believe that they deserve more? Journaling will help them get more rather than just coming home from work, having a couple drinks, watching TV, and getting up and doing it all over again. How do you
Yeah.
how do you help people just move from that to the things that you do now?
Well, you're going to see instant results in your life from just choosing to do something differently. Like if you move into gratitude every day instead of resentment, instantly you're going to see that your environment, your life around you shift as well. That's why I love working with people who haven't experienced any of this type of thinking, because the results that they see just from showing up and inviting positivity into their lives are instant and really transformative. So, I'm a positive thinker, secondly to some people, but I choose positive mental attitude all of the time, because you cannot have a positive and a negative thought at the same time, and negativity serves nobody. If anything, it just drags us under. So if you're tinkering, I talk about whenever I fell below the line. If you're tinkering and just getting through life and just tinkering on the this line, whenever something happens in life, you're going to sink below the line, maybe hit rock bottom. That's what happened to me. I was the cup empty. I was just giving to everyone, not giving to myself first. So I made a mental choice. Um, Whenever I came out of my PTSD and came back into my spiritual awakening, that I was going to show up and I was going to experience life. So it's about making a choice. I was going to see what I could get out of life, and writing came into my life at that point. And when I was able to process things by writing them on a page, and now I was bad at it, I had the limiting belief, I was terrible at English at school, all of the things, I had all these limiting beliefs, but I had this desire to just start writing. And it'll take a little bit of effort at the beginning to just start writing, but you can't go wrong with it. Whatever comes through and comes through you. But if you know any of the work that we do, if you're able to just stop and just be in that moment, writing is quite meditative. So if you're not good at meditating, if you are good at writing, that's the same kind of flow. You're connecting in with a higher source, you're allowing things to flow through you, and that helps heal. It like glows a light through your body that helps heal your atoms, and you're going to see instant results in your life just by choosing to do that one act. And if you build upon that, and you're seeing the results, your life is going to shift. You're going to shift from negative victim, into positive, hero in your life, where you're starting to rewrite the narrative. And, you may have to do it intentionally. I also, you got to do things intentionally and mindfully for the first while, but after a while, it just becomes part of who you are, and it just becomes automatic. And so you will have to put in a bit of effort at the beginning, but you're going to see the results that will far surpass any effort you put in. It's beautiful.
Well, what they say is if you don't put any effort into it, it's not gonna be worth it because so many times, you can give me $1 million today, but since I didn't work for it, I'm gonna spend it probably quicker
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah.
normal because you didn't get a chance to really, and you were saying that, and I'm a very positive person as well. And I listened to a lot of Zig Ziglar, and he said, positive thinking won't let you do anything, but it will let you do everything better than negative.
Absolutely.
So if
That's
you
it.
can just learn to be positive, and a lot of it is reading the right things, right? If you
Yeah,
watch TV and people getting murdered and people getting divorces, and that's what's going into your subconscious mind, and I think that
yeah.
causes you to lose hope.
Yeah. What are you feeding yourself? Who are the people you're surrounding yourself with? Is it adding to or taking away? Very consciously, recently, I've been very putting everything through a filter. Is this adding to me or is this taking away? And like I like to blur and just watch Christmas movies. I'm a hopeless romantic. I love Christmas movies. So this time of the year, like my Christmas tree's been up for a while. I've been watching Christmas movies and I love it, but that adds to me because it's just something that gives me joy. So if something is giving you joy, that's an individual thing. And only you know what that is. We can never tell you. So whatever gives you joy, do more of that because that's adding to, if something's bringing you joy.
Well, I just have to ask you this question because it kind of boggles my mind. How does someone write 40 books, novels, and I mean, I just am curious because you hear people, I wrote 2 books, I wrote 1 book, but 40 books,
Yeah.
and you don't even look like
Yeah.
40 years
And
old.
and I've written them. I haven't AI'd anything. I've written every one of them. So I've been writing for 15 years. So since 2010, when I wrote my first novel, and then I went on to write 2 more novels in that series, and they're all very much spiritual fiction and these things. And then I started to write children's books because I have a lot of kids. So and then I started writing on my Master Gifts series, which was before I was introduced to Think and Grow Rich, but which really connects and ties in with the whole principles in Think and Grow Rich, but probably more from a feminine perspective. And my master gifts are, mindfulness, knowing, intention, love, gratitude, forgiveness, and belief. So those are my 7 master gifts. And I lived a year in each one of them. But because I'm all about books. I'm all about publishing. I'm in that world, so I begin my day. I host the self-discipline camp here now in Australia, so I'm up at 4:30 hosting that. And then I write afterwards. So from 5:30 to 6:30, and sometimes I can push it out to 7. I'm writing, but I am in this beautiful, it's one of those like spaces where it just comes through me onto the page. Sometimes I write and I'm going, did I write that? And it's a beautiful flow. And again, it's momentum. It's what I love to do. Like my dream is just to live in a house above a forest with a bay window, just writing. I have like a list of 100 books I want to write, like and it's just my dream. Like that's it. And for those, because I know the power of words whenever they reach readers and they connect with readers and the power of words to shift something. And, whenever I got into publishing 13 years ago, it was a whole different world in publishing. And publishing has grown so much since then that we're able to reach more people in a different way, in a faster way. And books, just the physical books that you smell and sit and read and be cozy with, like those people thought 10 years ago they weren't going to be around, but they are because you cannot take away the experience of sitting and reading and connecting in a book. And when someone is reading your words in a book, you have their full attention. In a world full of distractions, you have their full attention. So you are able to connect in with the heart and mind of a reader, and and that's why it's important to weave stories into it. My name's Karen Weaver for a reason, and you weave story into the narrative, you're able to connect deeper into the soul of a person. And Napoleon Hill does that so well because he's sharing stories as examples of things in motion. And I do the same. You're sharing stories of principles in motion to help, because people learn quicker through story rather than being, taught in like in like manuals and things. People learn stories that they take in stories. Oh, I remember hearing this story about, and they connect in with the essence of the story and the lesson in the story rather than being told a whole new philosophy of thinking as well. So I just like the power sto I've studied a lot of philosophers because I have a doctorate in philosophy. So during that I've read a lot of books and read a lot of of stories from people, and I learn so much better when people are sharing stories rather than teaching me directly, if you know what I mean. Story is just such an amazing way to absorb new knowledge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love reading books too. I mean, I've for probably 30 years, every morning when I get up for the first hour, I read and take my dog out for a little use the bathroom. But it does change your life. And Lisa, you know her, she's my partner,
Yes.
and she'll say, Jamie, I'll send you a PDF of the book. You don't have to buy it. And no, no, no. I'm going to go buy the book, and I'm going to sit and read it in the morning. Not have to come here and read a PDF of it.
Yeah, because we do a lot on computers, isn't it, Jamie? Reading is for me is an experience. I'll sit up with a cuppa and or a water or whatever and just sit in my little Zen den, as I call it, and just and I don't want to be lugging a computer out there. We're on our screens enough. Reading for me is an experience, something that I retreat to and just love and absorb. So, and it gives you a whole different it doesn't feel like a chore then whenever you're sitting in a cozy. It feels like something that, and you absorb it so much better, don't you? It's like you're sitting with a companion, having a chat, reading their words, getting to know them better. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and people need to be inspired to read.
Yeah,
I was when I was going to school, I never read unless, of course, the teacher made you read
me
and
neither.
the book part. But then I listened to a lot of Brian Tracy, back at
Yes,
one point, and he said, if you want to double your income, I can tell you how. Get up and read for 30 minutes every morning before you watch anything negative. And I thought, oh, I'll
yes,
do that. And now it's turned into I read just I mean, I read a lot and on time. Now I don't even hardly
yeah,
watch TV, but it was that one little instance that said, I'd like to double my income. And I started
yeah,
reading it and it became a passion for me. So sometimes it's just the fact that you do something
yeah,
and you think, wow, I never thought that I'd like that, but I love it.
yeah. You try it, absolutely. And it's like it's so different reading something that you want to read and what you're being forced to read. Because in the school I had no interest in what we were being, made read in those, apart from Far from the Madding Crowd. I like that. But but now I get to choose what I'm reading. And whenever your subconscious mind is absorbing all of that and bringing into your reality experiences, inspired thoughts, and people that are aligned with that. So it's you're serving yourself whenever you're watching, like look at NHI. There's so much content on NapoleonHillInstitute.com for you to absorb and to feed your mind with really good fertile stuff that's going to help amazing mind seeds grow. There's lots of stuff on YouTube, like Brian Tracy, like Bob Proctor. There's so much stuff on YouTube that's really free and accessible that you can watch, that's adding to, that's nurturing you, helping you call in into your experience and into your existence. And we always need to be aware of what resonates. If we're in a healing journey, what's resonating with us right now, and actioning that. Because every lots of people, I can give lots of advice, you can give lots of advice, Jamie, but if it's not resonating with the heart of someone, then it's kind of lost. And so whatever it is that someone resonates with, that's what they're to action in that moment. And because like if you look at books like Think and Grow Rich, it can get overwhelming for someone who's just reading it for the first time. It can be quite a dense read. But if you read it with a lens of growth, and that it's going to be something you come back to, and to just see what messages resonate out through the text. And the same with my books, like my master gifts. People say, oh, wow, but as someone grows, the next time they read it, something else will resonate. And for them to take action, because these books have messages in them that are deeper than just the words on the page. So you have to have an open mind and an open heart whenever you're reading, and just be able to be aware enough of yourself that when something resonates and just gives you that little, excited flourish, then you take action on it, and having the courage to. Yeah.
Well, the one thing I try to read fictional books, but I just can't get it. I mean,
Yeah.
I've read like one fictional book I think in my whole life, but I've read hundreds of self-development books. And like you said, sometimes the Think and Grow Rich can be overwhelming. But even Napoleon Hill says in the book, right, at least read it 3 times
Yes.
because so you won't be overwhelmed. But it is one of those books that I very seldom read a book twice. But I get
Yes.
up and read Napoleon Hill, The Think and Grow Rich. I've read it many times, but I read the first 10 minutes of that every morning and then I go to another
Yeah.
book. But it
It's
is
so
something
good.
that just keeps going and going and going.
But
And
there's a reason why that book has, because we all interpret it individually, and it allows for that, which is beautiful. And look at how many amazing people in the world that are out there doing amazing work that this book was a catalyst for, and that's the thing. And it was the grace of Napoleon Hill in how he wrote all of his books. Like he isn't just a one book wonder. He's written some amazing books, and as he grows, he applies the principles and uses himself as an example as well. If his life, like, you just look at it, and he had failures, but he learned from each and every one of them. We all fail. If you embrace failing forward rather than getting consumed in a fail. I fail all the time, but I don't focus energy on it. I focus energy on the growth, and that's what grows more, and keeps the energy, and you don't think too much. Like, we all have an off day, and those are the days where I close my diary and go to the beach, or just do something that fills up the cup, and then come in and revisit your to-do list or whatever it is with a renewed focus or renewed energy. And that's one of my philosophies of life. I don't want to put negative energy into anything. So if I'm having a down day, that's when I am switching off and going and doing some self-care, so that you don't end up. Some people push through, and then you just see disastrous results for them. You know what I mean? It's just heartbreaking to watch. So yeah.
yeah. Well, I want to go into a little bit of Napoleon Hill here because I have a little question here. It says, how do you integrate success principles with deep trauma healing, especially when someone doesn't feel worthy or they've had success yet?
Yeah. Well, success is really identifying what success means to you at that point, and it's an evolutionary thing. You know what I mean? And some people are putting pressure on themselves, because they have an out there definition of what success is, and Napoleon Hill invites us to explore and go on an adventure to see what our burning desire is. So start to dream and start to heal on the journey. Like, you don't have to wait until you're healed to start dreaming and experiencing life. You can start taking steps now towards it. You're invited, everyone's welcome. That's what I love about Think and Go Rich. It's for everyone, there's nobody excluded. And whatever place you are in your journey of healing or on your journey of life, you can still take that one step outside of your comfort zone and start that journey. And the first point is to start to dream, start to know what it is that you want out of life, and start to believe that you are worthy of it, no matter what you have experienced in life. You are worthy of so much greatness, and you do not have to be defined by any negative in your life. So don't make yourself suffer any more than you need to, because we have the power of our thoughts. Our thoughts are the most powerful gift that God gives us. And whenever we allow ourselves to explore that and to find the power that we have in that, and find the power that we have in, and get inspired by others, then we're able to walk into that as well. And a lot of trauma, there's fear in that, and exploring the six ghosts of fear that that's in is really, really, really powerful place to start whenever you are, if you've got trauma, unresolved trauma to explore. So if you go there and start really just doing that work, you're going to start healing, and things are going to start happening in your life that you may not understand, but you're going to see and feel differently. And that may feel alien to you at the time, you know what I mean? It's not going to feel familiar. The trauma is going to feel familiar. But if you have the courage to show up for yourself and allow yourself to go into the discomfort of that, because the magic always happens outside of your comfort zone, and to allow that to become more familiar for you, then you're going to start really healing and going on that journey. And Napoleon Hill guides us all so well through each of the steps. The 13 principles are huge whenever you get to identify what they are and what they mean for you in your life. But definitely, if I'm going to pick two for this, for trauma, it'd be, really doing the work around fear, and also getting close and knowing how worthy you are to have anything you want in life. The only thing that's stopping you from having what it is that you want in life is your own thoughts, your own belief system.
I mean, I agree 100% with everything that you said, but here we sometimes get into the fact that we we don't want to fail at something, but then we fail. And if you've read and if you've studied, you know that there's never been a
Mm.
successful person that didn't fail multiple times. But
Yes.
then when you get around people that, again, maybe they've all had childhood trauma, because you kind of attract, right, who you're comfortable with, and feel safe. How do
Mm.
you, Karen, get someone to say that failing is good when everyone around them says you failed twice, move on, right? And uh, and unless you have a community like a mastermind that someone
Yes.
that people will keep you going, but it becomes kind of overwhelming, the fact that you
Mhm.
keep going when you're surrounded by people that tell you to stop. How do you kind of want people to change their mindset on that?
Yeah. Well, you do have to change your environment. You do have to change and start. Like you can do it if you can't move yourself out of the circle that you're in right now. Start reading. Like in my own personal books, I share. I'm open book. There's nothing I don't share. So it's when someone's sharing, right? Well, I failed at this, but I didn't let it define me. I just learned from it and moved on, because we're all failure is a part of life, because that's what we grow through, and we have to become comfortable with it. And a lot of times, from it comes from our childhood, where we are given that belief, as part of our paradigms, that failing is bad. Failing is not bad. Everybody fails. Every single person fails. But it's what you do with that failure that can be the failure. If you're failing yourself, if you don't take the lessons out of that and grow through them. If you keep failing on the same thing all of the time, you're just on a hamster wheel. It keeps coming around for you to learn the lesson. So learn the lesson, move on. You grow in that. You start to see, and it's just becoming aware of that, and it's important for people that go through adversity to share their stories. That's why, I show up for Story every day, is for this exact reason, Jamie, is because whenever we share our stories, we are always rewarded. But we are also rewarded with seeing the benefits that our story, and hearing, like, there's nothing like getting a letter from someone who's read your book and said, wow, I really resonated with this. I took action, and here's the results I have in my life now. So I shifted my mindset around whatever it was. And like there's some people that read that connect with me and read my work, and they're like, wow, this book, has changed my life. But it's because it resonates with people. So if you show up and be honest, first of all, you have to be honest with yourself.
Right.
Second of all, you have to have a desire to get out of that cycle of just, if everyone's if you're just in trauma all of the time and surrounded by people who are in trauma and who are victims to life and all of that, then it's harder, but it's not impossible. It just means you have to put in a little bit more effort. But the results you're going to see instantly are going to be so amazing. Like there's nothing like watching someone step into and discover this. It's like they discover a treasure trove. It's like they awaken to themselves in life and see. Like I had a cocoon period for 14 months of my life. I was in PTSD. I call it my cocoon period, and just I just had to go through it. But and then I had a double miscarriage that woke me up out of it, and I started to feel again. So start to take steps into what into a different into a different way of doing things. You have to do something different if you want to get different results. So read books, watch content that adds to you, that has, and like everybody, like if you watch even like a Jack Canfield story, he talks about all the failures that he's had before he had the chicken soup for the soul win. Do you know what I mean? Like everybody fails, but if you have an enlightened perspective of failure, then you never fail really, do you?
Well, we know persistence is the key to not failing, right?
Yes.
If you maybe you make something that doesn't quite happen the way you wanted it to happen, you don't look at it as a failure. You look at, as you said, you look at it as a growth opportunity. And how do I take this and grow from it? And
Nothing happens the way we want it to, Jamie, or expected to. That's one of the things that Napoleon Hill has really taught me is that, you need to be open. You need to know what it is that you want. Get clear on what it is that you want, but you need to be open to the journey. And, you know, if you might try to micromanage that journey, you're going to miss so many opportunities that are gifts from the universe to for you to to kind of leap forward in life, because most of the opportunities come from left of center. You would never have foreseen them coming. Like I know in my own experience, I've achieved so many great things in my life. I set intentions and I experience amazing things that blow my mind, but I'm open to the journey. I know an inspired thought whenever it's coming into land, and I have the courage to action it, and I'm guided enough and go inwards for the answers enough so that I trust the process, and I know what I have, what's a hell yes and what's a hell no. So and but being able to get there, and if I can get there, anyone can. I was very lucky. I was 31 whenever I woke up to life and woke up to the potential of life. So that's pretty young for some people, you know what I mean? And so I've been on this journey and building upon that every day. But no matter where you are on your journey, and I was at rock bottom whenever I started, so wherever you are on your journey is you can always grow from it. You can always add to. So it's beautiful, but it never happens the way you think.
no, I mean, but the one these little things always kind of come back to me, and if you don't learn, then
Yeah.
you don't know how to move forward. Where again, this is a Zig Ziglar quote, but you get new information and you make new decisions. But if you keep
Yes.
getting the
Love
same
it.
same information, you can't make a new decision. So you just go back to your old life, and when it was just
Exactly.
again one book away or 5 pages away from transforming your whole life.
It is so close. Like it's just one wake up call, because once you awaken, you can't go back to sleep. That's it. It'll keep pulling at you. It'll wake you up at 3 a.m. in the morning and things like that going, no, come and explore me. I'm here. I'm here for you to learn more. So you never ignore it, because otherwise you'll regret it.
Well, and as you learn, you get hope, right? And
Yes.
the little saying, if you have hope in the present, you have power in the future. So
Yeah.
if you can just have hope that you can do other things, then it's
Yeah.
going to
And you need faith as well, Jim. Like faith is such a big part of any journey. And sometimes people want to see results or proof of results before they step into it. But you have to have faith first. And that's by going, all right, I know this is for me. I don't know why, but I know something's telling me that this is the next step that I need to take. And just trusting that. And then, oh, it's just magic whenever, you're able to look back and reflect and go, oh my God, I could never have foreseen that. But I'm so glad. Like, just like me saying yes to writing that first novel. even though it was the most irrational thing I probably could have done to everyone in the outside world. And usually, you know, it is irrational to the outside world whenever you take one of these faith leaps in life. And but every time I've done it, I have been very blessed with profound results. And had I not taken that leap of faith and said, I'm going to write this novel in 30 days, and I've done it breastfeeding my baby with one hand and typing into a keyboard that had missing keys. You know what I mean? But I had such a desire to do it, and I done it in steps. Like, I didn't think 50,000 words. I thought 1,667 words a day, and took each day as a chem, instead of thinking of the bigger picture, because that was too overwhelming for me. I just took each step. So if you just focus on the steps, master those, and before you know it, you're there having you're looking back going, wow, look how far I've come. It's a beautiful part of the process.
Well, I mean, that's some of the things I think for old time goals, right? Where they said, give yourself 30 days and you got this big goal. And your subconscious mind is like, you've never done that before. So you
Yeah.
really don't ever kind of do it, right? It gets to a point where 2 weeks, I've only got this far, so I'm just going to quit. Where,
Yeah.
like there's so many new books now that says, if you want to run, be a runner. And if you don't want to run, put running shoes on, right? And just be
Yes.
and that can be your first step is putting the running shoes on, and then just
Yes.
walk outside, run the first block. All of those little things is really what will get you to the place where you want to go.
Absolutely. It's just taking the first step. And then you set a ball in motion that just, you know, you show up for it, you're gonna end up somewhere just that you not even know yourself exactly. Because if you don't like where you're at right now, or if you want more, then you've got to take action and bring changes into your life. Otherwise, you're just going to keep experiencing what it is, that you've been experiencing. You have to make a change.
Well, Karen, I'm going to ask you one more question here, but what is like based on the Napoleon Hill principles and what we're trying to do here with Rich in Purpose, and
Mhm.
you help so many people. What is that one thing that you think that every single person should hear that will get them taking that first step?
Yeah. Just wherever you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be. Just trust that. It's all part of your journey. Just really be kind to yourself and the narrative that you're telling yourself. So many people like are saying things to themselves they would never say to another human. And you are your best friend. You are if you have the courage to go inwards for the answers, because that's where all of the answers are inwards. You go inwards for the answers and outwards for the support to make things happen, then you're going to be on the right track. But have the courage to go inwards, to get to know yourself, because within you is all of the answers, but there's also an internal guiding system that works 100% in your favor. And whenever you can tap into that and tap into that knowing and trusting and having faith that you are guided along every step in life, and you will be guided through adversities, you will be guided towards whatever your dreams are. You are worthy of whatever it is that you want in life. Set some powerful intentions. Have fun with it, because I believe we're all here to for a joy, a joyride. So to start to allow yourself to feel joy, because that energy, that frequency will bring you more things and more opportunities, things that you could never have foreseen, or even known that you wanted, until they start to present themselves to you. So it's just a beautiful process. So allow yourself to know that you are worthy of it. Everybody is. And it's just a matter of choice. And then things will start to shift around you. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable at the beginning because it's unfamiliar. But whenever you become best friends with that and understand that before any breakthrough, there's always the struggle, because that's where the growth is. And to not give in, or not to, don't retreat in the struggle. keep going and be kind to yourself and just you ride out the storm and then see what gifts that God has for you after that because we are always rewarded. So don't abandon yourself in those times. Keep going and keep the faith and just keep moving through it because there's so many riches beyond your wildest dreams waiting for you whenever you take those steps.
Well, every time I ask that question, it always comes around to self-love, right? Once you
Yes.
start loving yourself, once you start realizing that you're worthy of the things that you dream about, then
Yeah.
you can, and we'll give you well, Napoleon Hill one more thing, form yourself a mastermind, and you'll be able to grow and become the person that you really want to become.
Get yourself surrounded by the right people. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to do it for ourselves, but also for humanity. Humanity needs us right now to show up for ourselves first, to become the higher version of ourselves, the highest version of ourselves, that we can pour the best of ourselves into the world and come together in that beautiful essence. And that's how we change, things in the world and create a beautiful place for us all.
Yeah. Well, probably a few of us, our entrepreneurs, our audience said, I want to write a book. How can I get a hold of this lady so she can help me publish my book? How would that be, Karen?
Absolutely. Come along to kpwofficial.com, which is my website. There's a contact form in there. That'll find its way to me or my team, and I would love to jump on a call. I'll happily jump on a call with anybody just to help you dispel some blocks that you may have. Because, I did not have a belief that I would be able to write a book. But whenever you set the ball in motion, you have the desire to do it. I can help you eliminate a few blocks and get you running with it. So happy to do a call for anybody who has that call.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Karen. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And I know that others have learned because I've learned. And it's always great to talk to people who, especially have done, you went through some trauma, but look at the things that happened in your life that, you've written 40 books and you have organizations that help people. And it's just amazing if you just set your mind to it, right? You can overcome obstacles. So thank you for being an example. Thanks you for telling your story. And I'm sure that we are going to get to work together again soon.
Absolutely, Jamie. So lovely to meet you and to meet everyone. And yeah, thank you for all that you do with Rich and Purpose. Beautiful.